There was a tremendous psychological hurdle for me to actually take the escape hatch that I saw to leave traditional employment and assume control over my own time. There are a lot of factors that built up to where I had the mental courage to take the risk I did and to actually escape out that hatch. The the story that I think clarifies the variety of friction I felt, the sufficient friction to actually cause me to take my escape hatch. The story that summarizes that the best, I would say, was grocery shopping, actually. For a long time, I'd been a practitioner of fire, trying to live within our means, trying to grow the gap between our income and our expenses so that I had more savings rate. Because of that, we lived by a budget for years and years and years. The budget for groceries every month was fixed, but some months are 5 week months and some months are 4 week months, meaning that the amount we could spend on groceries on any given week on a 5 week month was much less than on a 4 week month. So specifically on those 5 week months, as I was grocery shopping, I would stand on the cookie aisle. I would be looking at cookies, trying to decide whether I should buy 2 or 3 packages of cookies for my kids' school lunches that week. I always chose to send home school lunches because I'd calculated it and determined that was cheaper than buying hot lunch from the school itself. As I stared at the cookies, I would never look at brand name cookies. Those were absolutely off limits. But I'd stare at this. I'd stare at the stored generic brand cookies, and I'd literally stare at them for a few minutes, trying to decide: am I buying 2 or am I buying 3? And that became such a mental friction on those 5 week months specifically, because I knew if I bought 2, it was so much easier to live within the budget for that week. And at some level, my mind said cookies are not really a requirement. So if I have to give up something, I should give up cookies. But if I only bought 2, I knew that kids would eat them too quickly and they'd be gone by Wednesday or Thursday. And then I'd hear complaints from the kids for the rest of the week about not having enough good things for school lunches. So I'd sit there literally for minutes and just try to do the mental question of, do I want to buy 2 or do I want to buy 3? I hated that transaction. It built up to such a level of frustration that I started to question, why am I trying so hard at work? Why am I trying to be such a good employee when I'm still faced with this stupid question of 2 or 3 packs of cookies? That was one of the driving forces that caused me to realize that staying in employment is going to forever keep my upside capped. I'm going to only be given just enough to keep me coming back day after day and week after week. That was one of the frictions that finally caused me to see an escape path and have the actual courage to take that escape path, even when it looks brash, even when it looks reckless and irresponsible.